Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question right out the gate. What if in the next 10 minutes you could shift the entire trajectory of your life? Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here, right now. Because I came to tell you, it only takes one decision, one revelation, one shift in your belief system to unlock the greatness that's already inside of you. The most eye-opening 10 minutes of your life could begin today if you dare to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Do you realize that your entire life can pivot on a single decision? One choice, one no. One moment of courage where you stop negotiating with your fears and start honoring your future. Most people believe that transformation is a long, drawn-out process. They think they need decades of struggle to finally arrive at success. But the truth is, destiny doesn't shift in years. It shifts in moments. It's that split second when you decide to stop tolerating average. It's the instant when you declare that the pain of staying the same is greater than the fear of change. That's the power of one decision, and it can redefine your entire life. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, every legend you've ever studied, they didn't begin with a perfectly laid out plan. They began with a decision to move forward when everything around them said, stay where you are. A decision to believe in a vision that no one else could see. A decision to step out even when the path was uncertain. They weren't superhuman, they were simply willing to decide. The question is, when will you? Here's the danger too many people live in the land of someday. Someday, I'll start that business. Someday, I'll write that book. Someday, I'll get in shape. Someday, I'll forgive. And someday becomes never, because they never decide. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect feeling. But let me tell you, there is no perfect time. If you're waiting for it, you'll be waiting forever. The power is in deciding now, today, this moment. That's what separates dreamers from doers. Imagine yourself standing at a fork in the road. On one side is the path of comfort, where nothing changes, where life looks the same year after year. It's safe, it's predictable, but it's suffocating. On the other side is the path of growth, of risk, of possibility. It's uncomfortable, but it's alive. One decision determines which road you walk. And that single choice will echo through your future, shaping who you become, what you achieve, and what kind of legacy you leave behind. I want you to remember this indecision is still a decision. Choosing not to act is still choosing, and it locks you to the life you say you don't want. Every day you hesitate, every time you say, maybe later, you're reinforcing the chains that keep you bound. But the moment you decide, everything begins to move. Opportunities that were invisible start showing up. Resources you couldn't find suddenly come into view. People who doubted you begin to take notice. Why? Because decisions create momentum, and momentum creates miracles. What would happen if today you drew a line in the sand and said, enough is enough? What would shift if you decided that this is the year you stop shrinking, stop hiding, stop settling? What if you finally said yes to your calling, yes to your potential, yes to the version of you that you know deep down is waiting to come alive? You'd stop living on the edges of your own life and step fully into it. That's what happens when one decision collides with belief and action. I know what you might be thinking, but what if I fail? Let me ask you, what if you succeed? What if everything you've been praying for, crying for, dreaming for is on the other side of one courageous decision? Fear will always whisper reasons to stay still, but faith only needs one reason to move forward. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let hesitation steal your future. You are one decision away from a completely different life. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting. Stop delaying. Stop telling yourself the lie of someday. Choose today to make the decision that your future self will thank you for. Choose to invest in the dream. Choose to act even if your knees are trembling. Choose to walk into the unknown, trusting that the God who gave you the vision will also provide the provision. One decision made in faith can open doors you never imagined. And years from now, when you look back, you'll realize that everything began to change when you stopped hesitating and decided. Do you know what separates those who live extraordinary lives from those who remain stuck in cycles of frustration? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not even opportunity. It's perspective. It's the ability to see adversity not as a stop sign, but as a stepping stone. Every challenge you face carries within it a hidden gift, a seed of growth, a lesson of wisdom, and an opportunity for transformation. The problem is, most people are so focused on the pain of the problem that they miss the power hidden inside it. Think about the times in your life when you've been stretched, when you've faced setbacks, when you've been knocked down. In those moments, it feels heavy, it feels unfair, it feels like the end. But look back now. Didn't those very moments shape your resilience? Didn't they teach you lessons you would have never learned in comfort? You see, the very thing you thought was designed to break you was actually preparing you. What if the obstacle in front of you right now is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher? Here's the hook that too many people miss. Adversity is not punishment. It's preparation. It's sculpting you for the next level of your destiny. Just as a diamond is formed under pressure, your potential is revealed under the weight of difficulty. You cannot pray for strength and then resent the challenges that require you to use it. You cannot ask for growth and then run from the very process that makes you grow. Every great story of transformation is written in the ink of adversity. But here's where most people fail. They camp out in their pain instead of passing through it. They rehearse the setback over and over, telling themselves the story of what went wrong instead of rewriting it into a lesson of what they gained. Adversity will either chain you or change you, and that decision is yours. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can always control how you interpret it. Your interpretation determines your transformation. Imagine two people facing the exact same challenge. One says, "This is the end of me." The other says, "This is the beginning of something new." One sees a wall, the other sees a doorway. Same event, different perspective, completely different outcome. The question is, which voice are you listening to? Which story are you telling yourself about your adversity? Because if you change the story, you change the outcome. Let me ask you something. What if the very setback that hurt you is the setup for your greatest comeback? What if the doors that closed on you were never meant to open because they would have led you to places too small for your destiny? What if the rejection you faced was God's way of redirecting you towards something greater? When you choose to see adversity through the lens of possibility, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? That single shift in perspective can turn pain into purpose. Here's the truth. You cannot afford to forget growth doesn't come in comfort. Muscles don't build without resistance. Gold isn't purified without fire. And your character, your vision, your destiny cannot develop without adversity. The weight you're carrying right now is not meant to crush you. It's meant to condition you. And if you refuse to quit, if you choose to see through the pain, you will come out stronger, wiser, and more prepared than ever before. So the next time you're staring down a challenge that feels impossible, I want you to pause and reframe it. Instead of asking, how can I get out of this? Ask, what can I get out of this? Instead of running from the pressure, lean into it. Because adversity is not your enemy. Adversity is your assignment. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll discover that what looked like a problem was actually the pathway to your promise. Do you know why so many people never step into the fullness of who they were created to be? It's because they underestimate the power of their daily decisions. Success is not built in a single day, but it is built daily. The life you desire is not waiting in the distance. It's being crafted right now in the quiet, unseen choices you make when no one is watching. Every decision is a seed, and the harvest you reap tomorrow will come from the seeds you plant today. The problem is that most people want the harvest without planting. They want the results without the discipline, and they want transformation without the process. Think about it. How many times have you dreamed about a better future, but allowed procrastination to steal your progress? How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow kept moving further away? Every later becomes a chain that ties you to the same place. And the truth is, the future is not something you wait for. It's something you create. Every great destiny begins with small, intentional steps taken consistently, even when they don't look glamorous, even when nobody claps, even when you feel tired. Here's the hook most people miss: discipline is freedom. People think discipline is restriction, but in reality, it's the pathway to liberation. Discipline sets you free from regret. It sets you free from mediocrity. It sets you free from being controlled by feelings that rise and fall. When you decide to take control of your habits, instead of letting your habits control you, you unlock a power that most people will never experience. The person who wins is not always the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. It's the one who is willing to be consistent long after others quit. Imagine two individuals who start at the same place. One chooses comfort, the other chooses discipline. At first, there's no visible difference, but over time, the small, consistent choices compound. While one remains stuck in the same cycle of excuses, the other has built momentum, strength, and progress. The gap widens, not because of luck, not because of talent, but because of choices made daily. You can't control everything in life, but you can always control how you show up. And the way you show up consistently determines the level you rise to. Ask yourself this: are your daily actions aligned with the life you say you want? Because wanting success and preparing for success are two very different things. Many people dream of abundance, but their actions are rooted in scarcity. Many dream of health, but their choices are wrapped in neglect. Many dream of leadership, but their habits reflect laziness. Dreams without discipline are nothing more than fantasies. But when you marry discipline with vision, you create momentum that cannot be stopped. Think of the power hidden in one small, consistent habit. Reading 10 minutes a day compounds into wisdom that transforms your thinking. Saving a small percentage of income regularly compounds into wealth that creates freedom. Speaking affirmations daily compounds into a mindset that overcomes fear and doubt. The secret is not in doing everything at once. The secret is in doing something consistently. Tiny hinges swing big doors, and your destiny often turns on the small choices you repeat every day. The reason this matters so much is because life is always moving. Either you're designing it or it's designing you. If you don't control your habits will control you. If you don't take control of your time, distractions will steal it. If you don't decide who you are becoming, circumstances will decide it for you. That's why every moment is a decision point, a chance to align yourself with the future you desire or drift further from it. The question is not, will I get there someday? The real question is, am I becoming that person today? So when you wake up tomorrow morning, don't wait for motivation to hit you. Motivation is fleeting, but discipline builds momentum. Choose discipline over delay, action over excuses, consistency over comfort. Because every single day in the choices you make, you're either building the version of yourself that you dream of, or you're slowly burying it under excuses. And I promise you this, the freedom, the success, the fulfillment you desire, it's not waiting in the future. It's being shaped right now, one decision at a time. Most people go through life underestimating the power of the mind. They believe success is found in circumstances, in luck, or in the opportunities handed to them. But here's the truth: everything you will ever become, everything you will ever achieve, starts in your mind. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality, and what you allow to dominate your thinking will eventually shape your decisions, your actions, and your destiny. The greatest battle is not fought in the world around you. It's fought in the arena of your own mind. If you can win there, you can win anywhere. The problem is, most people are running on mental autopilot replaying the same limiting beliefs, the same fears, and the same doubts over and over again. You cannot rise above the ceiling of your own thinking. If you believe you're not capable, your actions will always reflect that belief. If you tell yourself success is for other people, you'll never fully step into your potential. The mind does not ask whether your thoughts are true. It accepts what you feed it and goes to work creating evidence to support it. That's why the most dangerous lies you'll ever believe are the ones you tell yourself. Here's the hook that most people miss. Your external life is a reflection of your internal conversations. You can't talk defeat in your mind and expect victory in your life. You can't feed your mind fear and expect to walk in courage. You can't replay scarcity and expect to experience abundance. The reality is simple. What you meditate on, you magnify. So if you want to transform your life, you must first transform your thinking. Every breakthrough in history began with someone who thought differently, who refused to accept the limitations handed to them, and who dared to see possibilities where others only saw problems. Think about the way you respond to challenges. Two people can face the same problem. One sees it as the end, the other sees it as the beginning. One believes it's a wall, the other believes it's a stepping stone. The difference is not the problem. The difference is perception. When your mindset shifts from why me to try me, life's obstacles stop being stumbling blocks and start becoming training grounds. The pain that once looked like punishment begins to reveal itself as preparation. And that shift doesn't come from changing the outside. It comes from reprogramming the inside. Imagine what would happen if you stopped focusing on what could go wrong and started focusing on what could go right. Imagine if, instead of rehearsing your failures, you rehearsed your victories in your mind before they even happened. High achievers don't just work harder, they think differently. They visualize, they affirm, they focus on the outcome they desire instead of the obstacles in their way. And because their mind is trained to expect possibility, their actions align with that expectation, pulling them toward the result. Your thoughts are like a compass. They determine the direction of your life. If your compass is broken, you will keep walking in circles no matter how hard you work. That's why protecting your mindset is non-negotiable. You cannot afford to let negativity, doubt, or fear take root. Every time you entertain them, you're planting weeds in the garden of your destiny. And the longer you let those weeds grow, the more they choke out the seeds of possibility. The good news is you can reprogram your thinking. Just like a muscle, the mind grows stronger with repetition. Feed it with faith, with gratitude, with vision, and it will begin to default to strength instead of weakness. The most successful people are not those who never face setbacks. They're the ones who refuse to let setbacks control their mindset. They ask better questions. Instead of, why did this happen to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of, I can't do this. They declare, I'll figure this out. Those small shifts in internal dialogue create massive shifts in external results. Because here's the truth. The world doesn't respond to your potential. It responds to your belief in your potential. So the next time you feel doubt rising, remember this: the only limits you truly face are the ones you allow to live in your mind. If you dare to think bigger, to replace fear with faith and excuses with execution, your life will begin to align with that new reality. The moment you master your mindset, you stop living at the mercy of circumstances and start living at the level of your vision. Most people underestimate the value of time. They think they have forever, so they waste today believing tomorrow will be more convenient. But the truth is, tomorrow is not promised. And the most successful people understand that the clock is ticking. Every moment is an opportunity. And the way you use your time will either build your future or bury it. What you do today determines what you will experience tomorrow. And here's the hook. It's not that you don't have enough time. It's that you are not yet disciplined enough to master the time you have. Think about it. Every person on this planet gets the same 24 hours. The billionaire, the athlete, the entrepreneur, the dreamer. They all start with the same measure of time. What separates them is not the number of hours, but the way they choose to use those hours. You see, time doesn't care about your excuses. Time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Time doesn't pause while you binge on distractions or procrastinate on your goals. Time just keeps moving, and if you don't move with it, you get left behind. Here's a secret most people never realize: the greatest wealth you'll ever possess is not money, it's time. Money lost can be earned back. Opportunities missed may come again. But time once wasted is gone forever. Every wasted day is a piece of your destiny thrown away. And if you're not intentional, you will look back one day filled with regret. Not because you weren't talented enough or smart enough, but because you didn't value time enough to use it wisely. Now imagine how your life would change if you treated every single day as if it mattered. Because it does. If you woke up with the mindset that today is your chance, not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances get better, but right now. That shift in perspective alone will take you further than talent without discipline ever will. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and it is built by how you choose to spend your time. Here's the hook that will change your trajectory. Most people wait for motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. Discipline, on the other hand, is solid. It doesn't care about how you feel. It doesn't wait for inspiration. Discipline is making the decision to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. And when you stack those disciplined decisions day after day, your life begins to transform. Success is never the result of one massive leap. It's the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions taken over time. Consider this: the difference between success and mediocrity often comes down to how people use the hidden hours. The hours when no one is watching. The hours when most are sleeping or scrolling or numbing themselves with entertainment. Champions rise in those unseen moments. They know that time invested in growth, in skill, in planning, and inaction compounds. Just like money earns interest, your daily disciplines compound into mastery, into influence, into a life most people only dream about. The question is, how are you investing your hours? Are you building or are you wasting? Every excuse you make is stealing time from your future. Every distraction you indulge is robbing you of progress. And the most dangerous phrase you can ever say is, I'll do it later. Because later becomes never. You don't get more disciplined by waiting. You get more disciplined by deciding. Discipline is a choice, and the moment you choose it, your life begins to accelerate. So the challenge is this: what if you treated time as your most sacred currency? What if you valued your hours the way you value your paycheck? What if you began to guard your minutes with the same intensity you guard your possessions? Because the truth is, time is far more valuable than money. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. And those who respect time are always rewarded by it. When life knocks you down, and it will, the greatest choice you'll ever make is whether you stay down or rise again. Resilience is not about pretending challenges don't hurt. It's about refusing to let them define you. Every setback has two options. It can either be the excuse for why you quit or the reason you grow stronger. The hook here is simple. Your struggle is not the end of your story. It's the setup for your comeback. Think about the people you admire most in life. They're not remembered because everything went smoothly for them. They're remembered because they got back up after being knocked down. Resilience is the ability to bend without breaking, to stumble without staying stuck, to fall without accepting failure as final. And the truth is, resilience is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every obstacle is a training ground. Every disappointment a chance to strengthen your mental and emotional muscles. Most people believe that resilience means waiting for life to get easier. But let me tell you, life never gets easier. You simply get stronger. You develop the ability to stand in the middle of the storm and refuse to be moved. The storm may rage, the winds may blow, but resilience whispers, I am not done yet. That's why resilience is the hidden superpower of every great achiever. Talent may open the door. Opportunities may give you a chance, but resilience is what keeps you in the game long enough to win. Here's the hook you can't ignore. Setbacks are not roadblocks. They are detours designed to redirect you to something greater. Sometimes, when the door you prayed for doesn't open, it's because there's another door, bigger and better, waiting for you. But you'll never see it if you stop walking. Resilience demands that you keep moving forward, even when you can't see the finish line, even when everything in you wants to quit. Resilience is that voice inside that says, take one more step. Let's be real, pain is unavoidable. Struggles are unavoidable. But growth is optional. Some people let pain paralyze them, while others let pain propel them. The difference is not what happened to them, but how they chose to respond. Resilient people decide that no matter how many times they fall, they will rise one more time than they fall. That decision creates unstoppable momentum. It shifts your identity from a victim of circumstances to a victor over circumstances. Here's something powerful. Resilience doesn't just change how you see failure, it changes how failure sees you. When you refuse to break, failure begins to fear you. Every time you rise again, you rob failure of its power. Suddenly, failure is no longer the enemy. It becomes the teacher. And the lessons you learn through resilience are the very lessons that equip you for your destiny. Without resilience, success becomes fragile. With resilience, success becomes inevitable because no obstacles is strong enough to keep you down. So ask yourself, how do you react when life tests you? Do you let challenges weaken your will, or do you let them sharpen your edge? The choice is always yours. The hook is this: every challenge you overcome is proof that you can handle the next one. Every storm you survive is evidence of your strength. And the more resilient you become, the less power setbacks have over you. You stop seeing problems as barriers and start seeing them as opportunities to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think. Resilience is not just about surviving. It's about thriving. It's about rising higher because of the very things that tried to hold you back. Life doesn't reward the person who never falls. It rewards the person who refuses to stay down. That's the essence of resilience. And once you develop it, there's nothing in this world that can stop you from reaching the heights you were created for. So as I close, let me remind you, this moment is not an accident. You were meant to hear this today. And the question is simple. Will you walk away the same, or will you walk away transformed? The most eye-opening 10 minutes of your life are not behind you. They are happening right now. Don't miss them.